All right, there we are. Hey, welcome back to our virtual PLC faculty meeting today. So let us get this thing going. Let's get the road on the show here. All right, virtual PLC faculty meeting October 11th, 2017. That's today. Who is this? Bellwork today. This person has seen every episode of Friends and The Office multiple times. I know that probably fits into a lot of our agendas in the past, but this person actually took the time to write it on their card at the beginning of the year PD. So who is this person? Think about that. Get ready to write your answer down on the exit slip at the end. Reward days, October 20th is our next reward day. We have another one on October 31st. That is going to be our first Renaissance reward day. That is going to be a good one. Ms. Schlosser has got some good stuff planned. But the next team reward day is October 20th. Be ready for that. Simpson County's non-negotiables for teaching for personalized learning classrooms. So our non-negotiables, again, bell-to-bell instruction every day, learning targets, focus questions, clearly planned. The students are going to be able to articulate what they are being expected to learn. Read through here, make sure that you're getting all this. Formative assessment, that's going to be a big part of our PLC, part of this virtual PLC faculty meeting, and a big part of LCD on Monday. So be ready for that. Make sure you review those non-negotiables. Next, attendance. So we are getting audited this year. So all of these red boxes you see on the right side, we got to get rid of those. That means that we have got to post attendance every period. I know you've got a lot of things going on and it's hard to get those kids in and get them settled, but please, please, please try to remember to get that posted so we don't get dinged by the state when they come in to do our audit. The walkthrough form, I mentioned in our PPMs that we are getting some good consistency on yeses on our walkthrough forms and that we were going to change it up. So I am letting you see it now. We will not start using it until Tuesday so that you can become familiar with what we're going to be looking for when we come into your classrooms. Classroom walkthrough form, scroll down here. Let's see, grade stayed the same, course taught stayed the same. Current weekly overviews are still have to be posted. It's a non-negotiable. It is there. Learning targets are posted in a visible place and reviewed with students at least 3 times. I told you we would split that into 2 of them. Here, I fulfilled my promise. It is done. Next, learning target level. We want to check the learning targets and see what level of Bloom's taxonomy we are expecting the students to be at. And we have a special guest just came in. Look who it is. Shalina Shanae. There she is, Smith. All right, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're glad to have you.
This is my first virtual faculty meeting.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I hope I do not look 10 pounds heavier. They say that camera adds 10 pounds, so I'm hoping
So how many cameras are actually on me?
I don't know, but I've got to slim it up a little bit here. But I'm loving
you're killing it. You're killing it.
I'm loving the fact that you all are talking about the levels of learning targets because, again, I think they all have a great place in our lessons. You know, sometimes we got to get the level 1s going just to introduce and so remembering, but at the same time we want to make sure that we're hitting some of those higher levels like analyzing and creating. So I'm pumped. And I have with me, you know, I never come empty-handed. When I come to somebody's house, you gotta have something. You gotta have a gift, not just a bottle of wine. But because we can't do that here at the school. But I do love it. So as you see, he's showing you the Bloom's taxonomy.
I don't have a mirror function, but it's all good.
Oh, so they can't really see that. But anyways, it does say remember level 1, kind of has some engagement prompts, kind of those just again lower levels. What is, who is, but then again, it has level 6, create, talks about devising your own plan. Again, higher level stuff. But then if you flip it, it's got our lovely DOK1, DOK2. A lot of the stuff I know that Mr. Conyers has been talking to you about.
Yeah, so you've probably seen
one
that.
Of these, we will get one of those in your hands just as a friendly reminder to make sure that you're hitting all the different levels.
Yes, and we will talk about that more on the virtual PLC part. So let's flip us back over here, not flip us off, but flip us back over here to the other screen. See our learning target levels right here. That's where we'll document which ones we're using. Student check for understanding. We will still continue to ask the students if they know why, what they're being asked to learn. Our instructional materials technology, what are we doing in class to enhance our learning? Are they using manipulatives or hands-on materials? Is the teacher using it or are the students using it? Check for learning and understanding. How are we checking? We use a verbal questioning, monitoring student practice, total group response, whiteboards. I know Ms. McCutcheon does a great job with whiteboards in her classroom. Formative assessments. This is going to be a big focus of what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. And then also the major focus of our LCD day on Monday. And then we got the other, because our teachers are so fantastic about coming up with new ways to check for understanding, we wanted to be able to document those. Discourse, teacher to student, student to teacher, or student to student. We want to see a lot of student to student discourse here. And then the student work level. So we looked at the learning target level. We want to make sure that the student work level is matching up with our learning target level. So this is where we will document that. And then classroom management, routines and procedures are evident. Positive behavior is reinforced. Negative behavior is addressed through redirecting. Teacher circulates throughout the classroom. Teacher manages proactively and calmly. Time is used effectively and efficiently. So we're going to be checking those off as we see them. And then, of course, we got the wows and the wonders. We'll be giving you a little bit more feedback on that. So that is our new walkthrough form. And this is just a little grid showing you some of those action verbs you use for each one of those levels. For the bottom three, remembering, understanding, and applying. And then on the next three, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So if you've got one of Miss Smith's handy dandy wheels, then those are already on there for you. And if you need one, please let us know. We will get you one. Shout outs. Okay. Miss Smith, you're gonna love these people. All right, so I gotta shout out to Team Courage and Team Respect, and you know, if we the whole team, because you gotta look. Okay, Team Courage said, I've got to turn the phone off. Sorry, Team Courage. You know, you got Mr. May, you got Mr. McDougal, you got Miss Hall, and you got Miss Elliott. With Team Respect, you got Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Phillips, Miss Lindsay, and Miss Cook. Mr. Wood has been out sick. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, we haven't had ISI.
Sick. So do you think that's some kind of?
It could have been. It could have been. They should have stayed separated.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I try to do.
But because they were out sick, the 8th grade Team Respect and Team Courage took those ISI kids and tipped them.
That's awesome.
It was fantastic. So we got to shout out to Team Courage and Team Respect. I also got Miss McCutcheon on here because she took one of the 8th graders.
Oh, see, I thought it meant that she went into tip.
Oh, no, not yet. We're working on that. But no, she took one of the 8th graders into her classroom and tipped her all day. Awesome. So I got to shout out Miss McCutcheon for that. Sabrina Clark, we are seeing some great team teaching and collaboration with her. And then Miss Stinson had an incredible formative assessment in her classroom the other day. It was really good stuff. And then I got to shout out to Brandy Coates and Donna New for their whole working on the chocolate fundraiser and the reward and everything. They did a fantastic job with that. So shout out to all those good things going on. All right, so let's shift away from the faculty meeting into the PLC time, okay? So first, we're going to review our PDSA model, plan, do, study, act. Up until now, we've been in the planning stage, and we're going to continue being into the planning stage until Tuesday, where we will implement the do stage. So let's look at our planning.
Stage.
It is a good stage. So planning, we want to create the instruction and the assessment plan, identify the next instructional assessment and most essential learning target or outcome to be addressed. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but the very bottom one, discuss common formative assessment items and establish a timeline for their implementation. We're going to get to that. That's going to be a focus today. So standards breakdown into learning targets. We've worked on this a couple of times now. We should be getting pretty comfortable with this. Just as a review, take your entire standard, break it down into those learning targets. Look at the keywords here. These are those levels on Bloom: determine, differentiate, recount, explain. Those are all of our Bloom level taxonomy word action verbs. Take your learning targets, do a formative assessment. Take all those formative assessments, create your summative assessment to see if they have mastered the standard. This is a good little diagram you can use. I used circle to get the action verbs or the skills. I used underlining to get the knowledge or concepts. And I put in brackets in what context that the knowledge and concepts are being taken from. So you can see that determine over here is in the applying stage, differentiate is in the analyzing stage, recount is in the applying stage, and explain is in the analyzing stage. So this really tells us that the knowledge of the concept we want them to get here is the main idea, here is the main idea and the details, here are the key details, and then here is how each detail supports the main idea, and then the skills they're going to use to show us that they know that. So this is just a quick little graphic organizer you can use to kind of help break down or unwrap your targets. So let's look at the assessments, since we're going to be spending a lot of our day on Monday with the assessments. First, there are 6 stages to developing an assessment. Step 1, decide what to assess. Consider all of your learning targets and decide which ones to assess. When you're trying to decide which ones to assess, follow those 3 criteria. Are they likely to cause the certain students difficulty? Are they important or a prerequisite skill for information to come later? Or are they absolutely necessary for students to know? So that will help you decide which learning targets to assess. Step 2, decide how to assess. For each learning target, make sure that your entire team agrees on the expected level of thinking for mastery of that target. That again goes back to applying, understanding, creating, analyzing. For each learning target, choose the most appropriate assessment method. Are you going to use selected response or multiple choice? Are you going to use constructed response or short answer? Or performance assessment, which you would see a lot more in music, band, PE. But not to exclude the other subjects, because I have seen some fantastic performance assessments in some social studies classes this year. Make sure that the thinking level you're expecting can be assessed with the type of assessment that you have chosen. We'll get into more of that later. Step 3, develop the assessment plan. This is where you're going to decide what type of items and how many items you will use to assess the student learning on each target. Consider how long the assessment will take to administer and how much time you will need to score the results. This is how many of those selected response questions should you include in order to see if they've mastered. Is 3 not enough? Is 6 too many? That's the decision you and your team will have to make. Step 4, determine the timeline. Decide the date or range of dates for administering the assessment and the date for the next meeting to discuss those results. Remember to consider scoring time before establishing the date for the meeting to discuss the data. So this will be where you decide when you're going to do those common formative assessments and when you're going to come back and look at those results as a team. Step 5, now write the assessment. We're going to use the guidelines for quality item writing while writing the assessment. What does that look like? Bam. Basically, we want to answer 2 questions. Is the assessment valid and is it reliable? So the assessment would be the constructed response, structured response, performance assessment. The item would be what are the questions that are on the assessment. So take a look at those. I'm not going to read them to you. We're big people. Take a look at those. I'll make them available to you afterwards and make sure that you can answer both of those questions as yes when you're writing your assessment. Step 6, review the assessment before administration. This is where you sit down, read it through, make sure that the directions are clear and unambiguous, and that the students will understand what you're expecting of them. And then to the last step, even though I told you earlier there was 6, I threw an extra step in there just in that magic 1 to 2 minutes ago. I threw it in there.
Good
That's
job.
how good I am.
You are.
Set proficiency criteria and decide how to gather that data. So this will be where you say, okay, I've put in 4 structured response questions. How many do they need to get right in order for us to say that they are proficient? That will be a decision that you and your team will decide. Next, so after we've done that, then we're going to hit into the do stage. This is where you're going to execute that plan, teach those lessons, give those common formative assessments. Then we will come back and do the study part. Now we get into the fun, the Halloween costume contest. So I got an email today. They were asking me, are we doing the Halloween costume contest again this year?
How could we not?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who gets to judge this?
The central office will judge this. You will be a judge.
Oh, I like it.
All
do
money.
I get to dress up too? Like
You can
Shanae
dress up,
comes,
sure.
or I don't know. I don't want to.
We can have Shalina Smith, Chief Academic Officer, or we can have Shanae.
I think that we should let the people vote on this. So
Oh,
we might
okay.
do a poll or a
We
vote
might
on
have to
this.
do a
But,
poll and see
loving the prizes here.
Oh, yeah. So the prize, Zaxby's lunch provided to the winning team. Now, we've had some trash talk already.
Oh, but who?
I'm not going to name names.
Okay. No.
I'm not going to name names, but we've had some trash talk already that Team Perseverance is going to sweep again.
Well, that Team Perseverance, they were, I believe, if I'm correct, were they some kind of band last year, maybe?
I wasn't here. Oh, mariachi band.
Were they?
I heard it was mariachi band. Was it last year? I don't know.
Last year, or maybe they were waiters, and they had like Shalina's shrimp on this menu. That might have been them too. I can't remember. All these years are starting to run together, but they are a phenomenal team.
That is awesome.
And they're sharp. One time they put like elves, and they had pictures of the administrators on these bodies of elves. You gotta vote for that. You gotta vote for that.
You do have to
Even
vote
though
for
I
that.
was, looking for some light up stuff, but
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
I don't know.
if you want to,
time for like an 8th grade crew to come step
oh
up.
yeah, I don't know.
It's like the seniors, they're
That-
eighth
yeah,
grade. They
that's a lot of
they gotta
pressure.
Bring it.
That's a lot of pressure. So yeah, we got that coming up. So start thinking about that. Remember, in order to be eligible for the prize, everyone on your team has to participate, but it has to be a team contest. So it's kind of a theme across the team. So yeah, make sure you start planning that. And all bribery money can be sent to my office. So I will distribute amongst the judges any proceeds that are coming in to sway votes. That goes directly to me. Okay. So our last and final thing, Fini. And a lot of people ask me and say, you math teacher can't put the H on there. Fini, F-I-N-I-S, is actually French for finish.
I didn't realize you were
So
French.
I am not. That is the only word I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my sister took French in high school. I took Spanish, and made my sister so mad that I got to take Spanish. And she took, as she called it, this is not my words, the worthless language.
What?
Yeah.
No.
It's the language of love, as far as I know.
Exactly, but you could have put adios.
I could. Maybe I should add that on there.
I think you should. I think
I should.
each week add a different.
Add another Italian arrivederci.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
yeah. Okay, so first one to submit their exit slip from this virtual faculty meeting will get a prize. And then at the, I don't know, maybe LCD day, I'll reveal the person on the bell ringer. Might wait until the next Wednesday. Who knows?
No, I think you gotta go Monday.
You gotta go Monday?
Yeah, that's the cliffhanger, man.
Okay, all right.
Go Monday.
Well, let's do that Monday then. I will reveal the person who has seen every episode of Friends and every episode of The Office multiple times. So, I know, right?
I don't know who this is.
You don't know who this
I do
is?
not know
Even
who this
Shalina
is.
Smith does not know who this is. Does Shanae know who this is?
No, I do not know who this is.
Well, you're going to have to fill out the exit slip.
But I'm telling you, I looked up that zookeeper or whatever.
Oh,
I was really working hard for that one.
Okay, did you get it? Did you figure out who it was? We revealed it. Do you know who it was?
Was it Miss Rayner?
It was Miss Rayner.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. So, all right, make sure you go on to the exit slip. It is down there in the description. Just click that link, and it'll take you to the bell ringer or the exit slip, and that will count as your virtual attendance at this faculty meeting. Anything else, Ms. Shanae?
Thank you for having me. I love this. This was awesome.
Glad you were
I think
able
I
to take
should
time
do
on your
all my
schedule.
meetings like this now.
You should. You should.
Love it.
And if you haven't seen her new TV setup,
That's an interactive board, man. Interactive board.
interactive
You say
TV.
TV, but if you want to come watch the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl.
No.
Super Bowl party at Shalina's place.
Yes, let's do March Madness first because
Oh. I think March Madness comes after the
I know
Super
it
Bowl.
comes
though.
after, but I was thinking that was during the workday and Super Bowl on a weekend. I'm not traveling up here
No.
going into my
Okay.
office. On a
All right. Well, again, get that exit slip, and glad to have you. Thanks.
Bye guys, thanks.